And a team of 6 awesome workers with a few of us here tonight. So if you aren't a regular to come into this space, please make sure that you are over the next few years because there's some exciting things coming. I'd like to firstly acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're on today, the Cherbourg and Yagara people, and of course the traditional owners of all the groups that we all come from today and that we all represent. I'd like to acknowledge the elders, both past, present and future, and also for those marching girls who are no longer with us tonight. For some housekeeping, the toilets, we've left the door open, so they're just to the rear around the corner. Smokers, if you could please go towards the green outside the fence and please put your butts in the bins. In the unlikely event of an evacuation, we are to go out the rear access area and down the stairs where the gate opens and out towards the riverfront on the assembly point. And we are taking photos and videos of the event tonight, so if you do not wish to have your photo reproduced in any form or fashion, please let one of the staff know. So, I'm just wanting to see, is Katina here with us? So, well, I'll get there. I just wanted to see before I checked if I knew what to say. So, the Night by the Fire event coincides with the showcase that we have on at the moment, the Our Sporting Greats showcase. Now that came about due to the Commonwealth Games being on the Gold Coast this year, and the curator, Katina Davidson, who's no longer with us anymore, she's gone over to Kogoma as the Assistant Indigenous Curator there. But it was her brainchild, I guess, to bring an exhibition or showcase into the space to coincide with the Games, but to focus on the unsung sporting heroes. And some of the athletes that have also done so much in the community that we don't always hear about. So if you haven't seen, we've got Uncle Charlie King, we have Uncle Willie Prince, who's here tonight, who's also part of the kuril dhagun team. We have Danny Morso, the basketballer, which I should have said whichever one was, and Rhonda Purcell. So each month we have a Night by the Fire event that showcase all of the profile athletes. And of course the Cherbourg marching girls. So this is their night tonight. So just to do a little bit of a thanks, and we really need to thank Gary and Murray. Murray's here with us tonight, who's going to facilitate part of the evening, and the University of Queensland for all of the hard work and research that they've done in the previous 6 years leading up to this event. And we're only a part of the side of this larger researching project. But I'll let Murray talk about that more. But also special thanks to the Department of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Partnerships for providing the means and the funding for the larger project as well as today's reunion event. And of course the State Library of Queensland staff and my team, which I mentioned earlier. After the proceedings here, we are going to provide some supper, tea, coffee and hot chocolate and some scones. The ladies, we've been feeding them all day. Is there any hot chocolate? I'm going to check the stock. But no, so thank you again very much for coming this evening, and I'll pass you now over to Murray.
Welcome everybody, and thanks for coming tonight on what is a really special night, and in many ways a culmination of a long period of time for these women, over 50, up to 60 years in many cases. And for those who aren't marching girls, hands up if you don't know much about marching girls. Be honest. Well, thanks for coming, and we'll inform you. So we've got a great slideshow up on the left-hand side wall there. You'll see it flicking over. Marching girls was a really fascinating activity. It was an activity which was about precision marching. It was a standalone sport, so it wasn't a sport that supported other sports. It was a standalone sport, and it was exclusively for women. And these women marched in time, in tune, to music, and were assessed by external people. And they did it in a whole range of venues and in different contexts. And the marching girls from Cherbourg are really unique in the sense that they were the only Queensland Indigenous marching girls team. And what was really interesting for myself and Gary Osmond, who's my colleague from the University of Queensland, we're sport historians, so we spent our life researching sport, and we knew very little about marching girls. But what we found out was, in the 1950s and 60s, it was one of the largest female team sports. Larger than netball, larger than hockey, and it had this meteoric rise in the 1950s and 60s, and then fell away really rapidly. And this coalesced with marching girls from Cherbourg, and as I mentioned, the only Queensland Indigenous marching team. There was maybe one other in another state, so it was a really unique moment. And Gary and I have been working in Cherbourg since 2010. I was telling the marching girls today the story that we've been out there and there's some famous male Cherbourg sports people, right? Can you think of any? Yeah? Jeffrey Nineveh, great boxer. Hang on, Jeffrey Nineveh, Commonwealth Games boxer. Yeah? Adrian Blair, Olympic boxer. Eddie Gilbert. What's Eddie Gilbert famous for? Cricket. What did he do that was famous in cricket? Everyone knows that story. He bowled John Bradman for a duck, right? So he is a significant figure. And those stories, those really high-profile sportsmen, were mirrored by a whole lot of community men who never actually really got out of Cherbourg, who were super talented. The Malones, the Fishers, and so on. So Gary and I have been out Cherbourg researching this for years, and one day we were leaving, and it's usually a long drive, 4 hours up Cherbourg and 4 hours back again. And we're walking towards the car, and we hear this, "Why don't you tell our story?" We turned around, there's only Sandra, she says, "Tell our story." I said, "What story is that?" She said, "Marching girls, Cherbourg marching girls." We turned around, sat down, and we started this discussion, and this is where we are today, 6 years later. It's a fabulous story of opportunity, meeting talent, meeting desire, and as you all know, an opportunity to get out of Cherbourg. Yeah, and we looked today, and you looked as you came at these wonderful photographs and wonderful photographs here. And these are young women with the world at their feet, not knowing what the future would be, and tonight we've got all those wonderful women here, or many of these wonderful women here, reflecting on what has been 60 years of their life. So this is a great opportunity to do that, to actually take you into their journey, into their worlds, what that's been like from the start right through the contemporary times. And we've got four people here I'd like to introduce you tonight. So first, Joan Tranter up there. Put your hand up, Joan. Thank you. Auntie Leslie Williams. If you don't know Auntie Leslie, you will know Auntie Leslie. She organises and has done the majority of this kind of organisational work and has been pushing Gary and myself for years to make this story be told, and hopefully this story will end up in a DVD, certainly in a book and a larger reunion back at Cherbourg for the Marching Girls. And finally, Joni West. Right, so let's start the journey. And I want to start with Auntie Leslie. No, I want to start with you, Auntie Leslie, because you're one of the driving forces here. Can you tell us what was the motivations that got you interested in the Marching Girls, and what did those early opportunities mean for you?
Okay, what got me started was because, pardon me, Sandra and I were always talking about history and reminiscing about what we used to get up to. And we talked about what we got up to, and including, what the history was like, and which included sport, all types of sport, because we were then working up towards developing the Ration Shed Museum. So this was early to late 90s, early 2000. And as part of the Cherbourg centenary, we got the Ration Shed converted into a museum, And then there was a couple of ladies in Mergen said, because Mergen was celebrating at the same time, their centenary. And a couple of ladies were doing a exhibition in one of the shops in Mergen. And so Sandra told them to contact me, and of course I was collecting all these photos. So the majority of the photos are on the screen down on your left side there. And then we put this display up this photographic display in the one of the shop windows. I think it was Salvation Army shop windows. And no kidding, in the shop window there was about 30 of these little panels up in the window. And of course everybody came in from Cherbourg. They heard about the marching girls. And everyone was laughing and looking through the window. And all the shops in Mergen had all their beautiful displays. But this particular shop, the Salvation Army shop, it was very hard to see the photos because there were finger marks all over the and everyone was laughing and pointing, shouting, "There's my nana, this is my nana," and it was so. And then after the celebration, it went into storage. But we were still thinking about something needs to be done about these marching girls, and we need to have some sort of reunion. And of course, last year was 60 years when the marching girls first were formed in Cherbourg. And I believe the ladies who were here today, unfortunately, they had to go home. And what was significant with today's event was these two, they were the daughters of Mr. Pascoe. And it was Mr. Pascoe and his daughters that set up the marching girls and trained them. And of course, and apart from that, it was a big community event with a committee that arranged for us to travel everywhere to compete in all these different competitions. And because we became popular, a lot of the celebrations in a lot of the towns, like you might have Labor Day, so they have processions. So naturally they invited these little Cherbourg marching girls, including festivals like the Gayndah Orange Festival. My memory of the Gayndah Orange Festival was these beautiful big navel oranges. And of course, we were allowed to take an orange. You can imagine what most of us girls did. We had our jackets, and every jacket had 5 or 6 big navel oranges, because we weren't just taking it on for ourselves. We were going to make sure our younger brothers and sisters got some of these oranges. I'll leave it at that for the time being.
What Auntie Leslie was talking about was the exhibition events that the marching girls did. So not only was it competition, but it was exhibition on the local fairs and days that were held around Cherbourg and far afield. But what I'm going to do is ask Auntie Joan Tranter about some of the competition, because that was the other side of the marching girls. There was the exhibition, there was the competition. And the marching girls were really successful. They were successful locally, they were successful at the state level and also at the national level. And if you look at the opportunities, you can see that as time went on and as the Cherbourg administrators became more confident with the young girls, they travelled further and further. And you can imagine what it would have been like for a Cherbourg girl, 13 or 14 or 15, who had rarely got out of Cherbourg to get down to the big smoke, down to Brisbane, or to get all the way to Melbourne. 2 flights, Brisbane to Sydney, you couldn't fly direct, and then Sydney to Melbourne. So Auntie Joan, can you talk to us a little bit about some of those competitions that you competed in? Try and remember as best you can. We've done it all day, so.
The hours to the captain. So we marched at some of the shows, and we had to listen. All our directions came from the whistle she blew, and another friend of mine, she's passed on now. We were marching in, I can't think of the town now, and we used to chat a bit. And Mr. Pascoe said, "I don't want you girls chatting. You got to listen to the whistle." And when ours blew the whistle for everybody to turn right and go that way, we're still marching against this. And the whole crowd is cracked up in laughter. And the graduates go, I told you girls to listen to the whistle. But it was fun for us because it gave us, the boys all had cricket, they had football, and we had nothing, you know. So it was something for us girls to be able to participate in, to be together as young women. And I'm really proud to see some of the younger ones took it up and then started going on to competition. With Iris and I and our group, we only were in the marching girls for about a year, I think it was, because then we went to high school and we had to drop out of the marching girls. So that ended our career of flashing our legs in the short skirts. But good answer.
Well, one of my first memories of the marching girls, and I said I was a bit dubious about putting on these really short skirts, you know, showing them bony legs there. Because we never ever showed our legs in Cherbourg, I can tell you that. But it sort of got most of the girls involved, and which was really good because then we sort of got together as Cherbourg girls. Then we got into the teams, and we had, because we were in the senior team, Joan and I and Daisy and Valmay. We were in the senior team, as they called it. Then we had the intermediates and the juniors, didn't we? And it was really great to see the girls getting involved in something in Cherbourg. Because, like she said, the boys had everything. And I mean, even they had their horses and things. And I mean, we had horses, but the girls weren't allowed to ride the horses. I mean, my brother wouldn't even let me near the horse. But anyway, the marching girls sort of took us places. And, yeah, showed our legs a little bit, but oh God, I couldn't show my legs now, but anyway. And what we were talking about today was one of the memories that stands out in my mind is we were practicing for the Cherbourg show, I think it was Santa, and then that night they had all the cattle in the yards. And of course the boys came along and let the cattle out, didn't they? And we all scattered. So we didn't do practice after that. All them potty cars and cattle came into the yard. But anyway, I mean, they thought it was funny, but I mean, it could have been dangerous. I mean, it could have stampede, eh? But anyway, you know, I mean, you've got the girls out of the houses and the dormitories. And, I mean, the dormitory girls think that they had the, one not being allowed to go anywhere. But the people... We lived up in Cherbourg. We weren't allowed to wander the streets either. I mean, I had to go from my home, me and Irish Jean, to school, out to our uncle's place, her grandfather, and then home again. We couldn't detour. Somebody always saw you and said, what are you doing over here? You live down there, go back that way. So the marching girls sort of gave us that freedom and togetherness with all the other girls, and we mixed with all the dormitory girls. And they were really happy to be involved with that as well. And Selena's like, she's our hero. Yes, she does keep us on our toes. But anyway, I'm glad that the people who made it here this evening, I mean, some people came late, but anyway, won't mention any names, but we made it. And there's like I said, out of our team, there's only the 4 of us, I think, left. And they keep saying, oh, your senior team get up there, you know, they might let them old people, get them young ones involved. Anyway, I'm glad that I was a part of it, and I'm glad that I'm here today.
Earlier was that we have a whole group of our marching girls here, and at any time if you feel like you want to add to the commentary, just put your hand up and we'll give you the microphone. So I can see Selena already looking at me going, give the microphone. But Johnny, I might get you to help us out here. For some people may not understand the way Cherbourg functions, so there were the Dormo girls, and the camp girls, and that their lives were kind of different. So Johnny, can you tell us what it meant for you as dormitory girl to get onto the marching girls team?
Yes, you do.
The ones at the back can hear you.
Sing out loud. No, the dormitory was totally different to the camp. The camp was where the mother and father, the children and the grandparents and extended family lived. In the dormitory it wasn't like that. I was 4.5 years of age when we were sent to Cherbourg, and there I was in the girls' dormitory, and my brothers had to go to the boys' dormitory, and Mum had to go to the mother's quarters with the young ones. So, you know, we didn't have that connection with their family. That's the difference between the camp and the dormitory children, see? But when they said, oh, if you want to join the marching girl team, you all go down there to the horse paddock. Well, we all bolted out. You gotta be in the yard by 5 o'clock. You can't, you know, it's like, if you got a boyfriend or that, he's got to stand outside there, but he got to get home then, you know, that was it. But this is like later on when you get older. Yeah, no, it was totally different. And the camp children, they had, even though we felt love in a certain way, but these camp children were outspoken children. We were like backwards. We didn't know how to talk. No, I'm telling you how it was. You listen now. Like when I got sent out to work on my 14th birthday, 27th of December now, and I got the yellow cab from Cherbourg into Megan. I had to go there and get the smoke
Can you
train.
give her the mic, please?
No.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Okay, there. No, well, anyhow, that's, you know, but before that happened, that was in 1962 when I went that way, but it was, even though we was, like we had to go to church and that we had to go to the morning service, and then we had to go back for Sunday school, and then we had to go for the evening service. You know, that's how our life was in the dormitory, but I don't know so much about the boys' domo than that.
Telling lies.
The girls was totally different, and anyhow, even though I don't know, the camp children just seem to have that family-orientated love that shined through them, and it was good to get out and you know, form the team with them, and they just like were like members, like friends with us from that day. And so that was the difference with the camp and the dormitory children, you know. But I think that's all I can say, really.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, because we went to school as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Now, at school, Joni, who was a Domo girl, and Gloria Williams, Domo girl, we became best friends. And she was a rat bag all the And Gloria was a quiet one, and I was a little bit outspoken, but Gloria was a real quiet, calm one, and she always keep the peace and everything like that. But like I said, Joni was a troublemaker and leading us astray.
But he left it out.
I might just get you to quickly look on the left-hand side. You see a photo here. Maybe some of the marching girls can talk to this photo. When? But it was on there for a flash. Anyone see it?
Yes.
Okay, can someone want one of our marching girls in the audience?
He's in the photo.
No,
Selena was in there.
Selena, were you in there? Okay, we'll wait for it to flick over in a minute, but for the marching girls here, the trophies, the success, you can see how successful they were. Not many of those trophies still survive, which is a real shame. We've searched them, Auntie Leslie, for years and years and years in various different contexts. But the major competitions are the local competitions, state competitions, and went down for national competitions. So we've got one of our marching girls who wants to tell us a story about the state championships. Went poured with rain.
Yeah, well, that was for the Australasia Championship at Lane Park, and Robbie and Jean was there as well, and we was the second last team on, and it was pouring down rain, and we used to have a white feather in a hat, and anyhow, when don't distract me. Gloria, Dad. And anyhow, we just stood there. We had to form our team and go on just within seconds, and we still marched out in the rain. Yeah, and to come, I don't know whether the Wagtails, originally from Newcastle, New South Wales. They were the original marching girl team, and I don't know if they beat us by 1 point or 10 points, but it was a big occasion, and Robin and Jenny was there screaming in the grandstand and that, and so it was really some event. It was quite a big day, yeah. And well, one of the other event I remember very clearly was when we competed against the Bundaberg Grenadiers. The Bundaberg Grenadiers were so smart. Oh, I tell you what, we didn't think we had a chance against them, but we knocked them off their perch.
And after the state championships, they went down to Melbourne, which was down to the Moomba Festival, marched in front of over 500,000 people through the streets. It's a pretty significant event. It was a 9-day visit, I think, travelling to various different places throughout Melbourne, hosted by a group of people. We've got one of the marching girls who'd like to talk about the Melbourne trip.
Selena,
thank you. Maybe both. Selena can go first and Laura can go second.
I'm still recovering from my fall. I was waiting for the screen because you could see me there posing on the fence. Yeah, I think it's a deadly photo for marching. I'm sure of it. No, I joined the marching girls because it was time to get away from housework. You know, you were told to do this and that, cleaning up, yeah, and we learned smart steps, but I wasn't smart out there before. But don't laugh, all your oldies. Anyway, I had my good mate here. There was myself, Lorelia, and Rama, Cynthia Bell.
Is that marching in Melbourne?
Oh, that's me there, look, second on, in one. And I love the marching girls. It took me away from Cherbourg, which was rain. I mean, we couldn't just go anywhere. We had to get a stupid permit to go somewhere. Did we get a permit to go?
it would have been organised by the committee.
Okay, but anyways, it was good because I can get in there and I can have a lot of fun with the other girls, and we did. We went to a few competitions, won a few medals and a few things, but my best thing that I remember most was about that when we came down to Brisbane and the bus had to park down there near the Goonagully First Grid to come and pick me up, and I was still having a shower. And Mr. Pascoe said, "Get her out of the shower now, the bus is waiting down in the First Grid." So, and then while I was down here, we was over at the Brighton Sandgate there, the homes there, we built it in there. And then another time, we came down and we went over to Brighton to March, and I was with a family over in Billiton, a family over in Poncha, and their name was Mr. and Mrs. Keys. So off I go to Melbourne in 1962 for the Moomba Festival, and I stayed with a fireman and his family on top of the fire station, and his name was Mr. and Mrs. Keys. So, lock and key, and I said, okay, the next, if we go to Adelaide or Perth, well then I'm going to have a Mr. and Mrs. Train. Anyways, she would have changed me up then, I suppose, through the key and lock. But for me, it was good. It was good. I had, you made good friends with, even though you saw them every day on a mission, but it was just, that's right, we're still friends today. Right now. We used to get up to some issue, but they were good. They weren't at Angel's store either. But,
We won't even go there.
But just to go up to the showground or the school ground, we used to have good fun there, and we could stay out a bit late and then go home and whatever. But for me, marching girls, and we learned some deadly steps, not like line dancing, but in line. And I was meant to go straight and then turn, not around like that, like I did at Anyways, for me, the marching girls, I like it. Still do, and I love everybody here tonight.
Thank you, Anna Selena. And I mean, you laugh about whether you had to get a pass and all sort of stuff. You go to the State Archives, which Karen and I have done, you see the documentation around this Melbourne trip. Everything you did was documented. Everything that enabled you to get out of Cherbourg to make all those trips was clearly documented and was supported all the way through to the highest office of the Director of Native Affairs. So it just highlights how controlled your lives were, every single facet of it. So the Marching Girls is a fascinating story, but it's a really interesting insight into the way in which Aboriginal women were controlled under the Act in Queensland. A sad part of our history. One of the things of the Melbourne trip, though, if I remember, Harold Blair hosted you. Yeah. So Harold Blair, is that a name people are familiar with? Famous Aboriginal tenor. Right. And he played a major role. Only bless him.
Yeah, can I just add here? I've been watching this lady at the back. Hello, Katrina.
Hi.
It was Katrina who... Katrina. Sorry, Katrina. Katrina, what's your relationship to Harold Blair?
My grandma, Georgina Thompson, that's her older brother.
Oh, yeah. Direct Harold. Harold Blair, I don't know if any of you ladies would remember, there's photos of us lined up near the old showground hall. ready for when they came for their visit, remember? And who did he bring with him? They came from Canada. Chief Walking Buffalo. Chief Walking Buffalo. Chief Walking Buffalo. So it was through that visit when Harold Blair brought Chief Walking Buffalo to Cherbourg. Of course, the Deadly Marching Girls put on a display, eh? Then when Harold Blair went back to Melbourne, he then approached the Lady Mayoress's committee and the Melbourne committee. And that's how it all came about. And I'll never forget that one night we were training up at the old showgrounds. And I think there were only the two remaining teams, because most of the girls then went out to work. And of course, we were very religious. We went up there and trained, and we were pretty good at following instructions. Where'd be Selena? Not even. But anyway,
I wasn't taught to go around the roundabouts.
I'll always remember Mr. Pascoe said, we've got something exciting to tell you girls. And we're waiting, because we're all in line, finished. And what he did the motion, he said, you're going on a big trip. And he said, the big trip involves, and what he did with his arms was flap it up and down. We were wondering, what the hell is this flapping up and down? It turns out then it was all about that trip to Melbourne. And it was about flying down to Melbourne. And it was in conjunction with the Croydon Marching Girl Association, who sponsored us to, and we're also where we were billeted. And that's where you were billeted with this fire. Well, what was his name? Mr. Locke. Mr. Locke. But yeah, and that's where Harold Blair comes into that part of it. It was him behind organising that event. So that's what we'll be including in the book. All the history stuff. We've all got our personal story we shared today, but all the historical stuff will be included in the book, including all those photos. Thanks, Mary.
We've got a couple of minutes left. There's some comments from the marching girls I'd like to share. We haven't had a chance to speak now. For everybody else, we're going to be out to the fire later, and there'll be opportunity for you to ask questions about context. But I'd just like to give some of the marching girls an opportunity to say what the marching girls meant to them, that particular formative period of their life. And
yeah, I'd just like to say, from the marching girls of that time, when we had our 75th anniversary in 1979, some of our children, our daughters and nieces, and with a couple of the trainers who were ex-marching girls, Beryl Purcell and Minnie Blackman, yeah, they trained those girls, and they put on a good show too, and it's a part of our history too in Cherbourg. So I think to have our daughters and our nieces and other family members to reform those teams again was great to see. Yeah, and I'd just like to say, yeah, great memories there. Thank you.
Other marching girls with a final comment. Thanks, Lonnie. William?
Firstly, I'd like to thank Leslie after all these years putting this together. I mean, being in the marching girls, it gave you that self-esteem, self-confidence, learn together to work together as a team. And as I said today, it's one of my greatest thoughts of Cherbourg, But I just wanted to thank you for what you've done here today. And bringing us all together. Sad, but great. So thank you very much, firstly, and thank you for taking part in it too. Thank you.
I'd also like to reinforce that Auntie Leslie has a drive that I would love to have. Okay.
Okay, ladies. Joe, you just want to finish and then I'll just...
I just want to acknowledge the junior teams. They did such a remarkable job. I said, even though Iris and I were the senior team, we only operated for about 12 months, you know, and so the junior team went on because we had to leave, we had to go to high school, so we were out of the team. But the junior team went on and did Cherbourg proud, and that's something wonderful that we can all look up to. And I'm proud to be part of the original teams, and I think I take great pride when I see the photos of the young girls. As I said, we were all pretty shy at the time, but I think that the marching girls lifted the self-esteem of the young girls and got their confidence back, you know. But for us, you know, it was a lovely time, but we had to leave too early.
Okay, ladies, clear the throats. We're going to entertain now our visitors. We did a practice run outside. We are ready. Let's entertain by singing one of the Cherbourg famous songs. What would you like to sing? Here we are.
Are you going to march?
No marching?
Too dangerous.
Ready? Let's start. One, on, ta-da. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we are again, happy as can be, all good friends and jolly company. Never mind the weather, never mind the rain, as long as we're together, whoopsie goes again. Here we are again, happy as can be, all good pals and jolly good company. Thank you, ladies. That was deadly, eh? You guys want another one?
We can just make our way outside now, around the fire circle, around the fire pit.